Have you ever felt stuck in life where you're not moving and you're not sure why? Now, there are 3 mindsets that can keep any smart, capable women stuck. My name is Sheree Cain-Jones. I'm a professional speaker and coach, and for over a decade, I have been helping women think, speak, and act confidently in their relationships, at work, and all the way to the stage. Why? So you can be paid and treated what you are worth. Now, there are 3 mindsets that if you can overcome these mindsets, first of all, you're going to get an award. Second of all, you're not going to be stuck. Now, when I say stuck, I don't necessarily mean that you are not moving. This doesn't mean that you are not working. This does not mean that you are not achieving, attending. It doesn't even mean that you're not buying courses. You very well may be doing that. Here's what I mean. Stuck means that you are operating at the same level. It seems like you cannot make meaningful progress no matter what you do, even though you are constantly busy. So you busy, girl, you just ain't got no breakthrough. So why does your mindset matter? We got to really uncover that. What I tell my students and what I tell the women I work with is that your mindset, it's either going to move you forward or it's going to pull you back. It's either one of the two. So that technically, either we are growing or we are receding. That's just the way it is in life. It's difficult to maintain. Like, think about your workout. Like, as I have approaching 50, oh my goodness, like I have to work. I got to work sometimes like a Hebrew slave to get this body going. Why? Because things are either disintegrating or they are flourishing. It's one of the two. Now, when I say that your mindset's going to pull you forward or it's going to pull you back, I'm not talking about tragedy or crisis. I am a big believer in Proverbs 23:7. It says, as a man thinks, so is he. So as a woman thinks, so is she. There will be no exclusions to this principle, and you and I will not be the first woman to change the rule. Here is what you have to do in order to not be stuck. This is the first thing. I'm going to get to the mindsets, but you really have to make a decision. You got to make a decision. I say it all the time. Indecision is a decision. It is a decision to stay stuck. I've had some horrible things that have happened to me, and betrayal, lies, physical pain. Like, have you ever had something happen to you and you're like, okay, like as if another thing happened to me? So I'll tell you the truth. Like, I have a son with special needs, and it just crushed my confidence. Like, it was something I couldn't fix. And I found myself stuck in a story where I thought I wasn't good enough. I couldn't do anything right. I was self-inflicting shame because of something that happened. And it was through a conversation with a coach that helped me make a decision that I could not live by that story. I had to reframe my story. So if that's you and you're like, Coach Sheree, oh my goodness, I've had some definitely difficult things happen, whether it's divorce or whether it's an adult child who ended up on drugs, or perhaps you lost a job. When we go through situations, if we are not careful, it can happen to any of us. It doesn't mean you're not smart, you're not capable. It doesn't mean you don't have discernment, but our stories get us stuck. But having new stories help us start. And that's what I do, is I help women to build that belief in themselves and that confidence in themselves, because sometimes life can not just knock the shout out of you, it'll knock the life out of you. Make sure that you DM me on Instagram or you fill out the application below to work with me. I also have a confidence reset challenge coming up. I have multiple ways for you to rebuild confidence. So let's jump in to why mindset matters. Your mindset, if you don't know this, your mind, it is creating your life. So it's either creating a life that you don't want, or it's creating a life that you do want. And this all happens with your thoughts. That's why I said, as a man thinks, so is he. But we have to, we can't just think thoughts. We need to understand what are the mindsets that create these bad thoughts? Because some of us have some BS, bad belief systems rolling around in our mind. Now, the first mindset that is going to impact your ability to even be confident and it keeps you stuck is overthinking. Now, I've got a saying around here. Maybe y'all can finish it in the YouTube comments. But when you're in your head, you're dead. A lot of us, we go into overthinking. We think ourselves out of the very thing that we said we were going to do. It's because of fear. It's because of avoidance, because we are a perfectionist. Now, I am what I would say in the past 3 years, I recognized I was a perfectionist, but I never wanted to admit I was a perfectionist. Why? Because that would mean that I'm not perfect. So perfectionism is when you delay tasks. It is when you, and I'm going to get to overthinking, it's when you delay tasks and you just want everything to be right. And I love AI, love me some Chat GPT, I love Gemini, I love Claude. But unfortunately, with some of these AI tools, we can be going after perfection when we need to be making progress. So we delay putting out our offer, our script. We delay having a talk because we've told ourselves and sold ourselves a story that whatever we have is not good enough. I remember, so I wrote a book and I sent some pieces of the manuscript to a friend. And if you've ever had someone evaluate your work and give you feedback, it's a little scary. You're like, they're going to criticize me, but it's good. And she came back and she didn't say, what is this? But she did say, this point needs to make more sense. And then she gave me some of the most beautiful feedback. She said, Sheree, books are not written, only rewritten. So you will never be able to correct what you don't put out. How are you supposed to do that? So we assume that we have to have the perfect plan, the perfect script, the perfect offer, and we go into overthinking. And overthinking feels productive because you're planning, editing, reviewing, but you're not really taking action. How many unplanned projects or overthought projects have you never even started? You might be simply postponing the very action that you need to move forward. Some of you are one offer away from taking your life and your business to the next level. That's why I said that confidence in yourself is a belief that you build on different components. And I talk about this in my confidence reset challenge, which you got to DM me so you can come to the challenge. But the components that confidence is made of, and overthinking is not one of them. The second mindset, and this is what really gets women, is emotional reasoning. Now, am I saying that your emotions are wrong? No, the blank not. I'm not saying your emotions are wrong. I'm not saying your emotions are right. What I am saying is that every feeling is not a fact and every feeling is not true. Your feelings may be valid, but they may not be accurate. A woman may feel like she has nothing to offer, but again, that's a feeling, not a fact. And sometimes we're making up stories and we really have no basis for that story, and we begin to believe it's true. I was working with a woman, and she was telling me about how she felt unqualified and felt like she could be rejected, and there were so many things that were wrong with her. And I just stopped, and I said, hey, is that the truth? Or is that your story? And what she recognized is she was nursing and rehearsing an old childhood wound that was now playing out 50 plus years into her everyday life. And what's very interesting about feelings is that they're sneaky. The way your brain is wired, it's not wired for your growth. It is wired for your protection. So whenever you go to have that conversation with your spouse, or you go to give that speech, or you go to put your offer out there, or you go to try something completely new, all of a sudden you have these feelings that come up. And they say, wait a minute, not safe, don't do it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get her to feel fear. Why? Because if she feels this fear, that means that she can still be safe. So how many of your emotions are propelling you forward? And how many of them are moving you back? Some of you have emotions that get you into not working, but overworking. Because you're afraid if you don't save the day, then no one else will. That is not true confidence. That's being emotionally charged and emotionally led. And for all of my sensitive people, I'm not telling you to throw away your emotions, but I am saying we have to learn how to manage our emotions. And we learn to manage our emotions by managing our thoughts. And I have a really good video on how we can overcome our thoughts. Now, this moves me to my third mindset that can really cause women to not have forward progress. And I call it the relational mismatch mindset. Now, I know that that's a mouthful, but a relationship mismatch mindset is when you have friendships and relationships that are familiar to you, but they don't necessarily grow you. There may be nothing wrong with the people around you. They may love you deeply, but sometimes the people that are around us can love us to death. What I mean is they can kind of perpetuate you staying small, perpetuate you shrinking, not because they're bad people, they're just not growth-minded people. Your environment can make you comfortable to the point where you don't even try to grow. I remember just wanting to grow and wanting to be a speaker and wanting to develop. And I had a lot of great relationships that were around me that were familiar. They were friendly. We had history. We shared narratives. But in order for me to grow and be the woman that I always wanted to be, I had to change aspects of my environment. So I'm not saying leave your friends, but I am saying you need to be in an environment that does not tolerate you being stuck. Every woman can grow more. Every woman needs to be challenged to change. And I always tell women that your mindset is the number one investment that you will ever make in your life. I see people making investments in their couches. They are more concerned with where they sit their behind than what they put in their mind. I love a good couch. I love a good dining room table. Like, this is my dining room table right here. But I also know my dining room table, it will not move me forward. My mind will move me forward. So if that's you, reach out to me at The Real Coach Sheree. Fill out my application to work with me and go through one of my cohorts. Come to my Confidence Reset Challenge, where I help women build bold belief in themselves. Your confidence and not being stuck is not going to happen because you have hope. It will not. Girl, you can pray. And I am a woman of prayer. But we don't want to just live our lives by hope. We need to have a plan. So here are the 3 mindsets again that can keep you stuck. Number 1, overthinking. When you're in your head thinking out plans, you're dead. Number 2, emotional reasoning. Just because you feel it's true doesn't mean it is true. And then number 3, the relational mismatch mindset. You're a Ferrari in a Ford parking lot. And sometimes you don't have the opportunities and the money and the confidence that you want because you're in a Ford parking lot. You have Ferrari level energy and you just need a new environment. So that's my challenge to you. Reach out to me. Get in that new environment. Don't allow these mindsets to overtake you, and don't allow them to keep you stuck. So it's lights off me. It's lights back on you. It's your turn now, girl. Lights, camera, action. Keep building confidence, and I will see you next time. Bye.